Have you ever had a dream that felt more real than waking life? A dream so vivid, so potent, that it lingered long after the sun rose, its images imprinted on your mind, its feelings settled deep within your very soul. These aren't just fleeting fantasies. They are the whispers of eternity, sacred invitations and glimpses of a story already written in the heart of God. For a young man named Joseph, just 17 years old, standing on the cusp of his life, such a dream arrived not in the dead of night, but with the gentle breaking of the morning light. It was a divine summons, a call to a destiny he could never have imagined. It was not an ordinary dream, woven from the threads of a restless night or the anxieties of the day. This was different. It was a God-given one, a divine appointment that felt more like a memory of the future than a creation of his own mind. It carried a weight, a substance, a clarity that set it apart from all others. This was a message delivered in the symbolic language of heaven, a seed of purpose planted directly into his spirit. In this vision, he saw himself standing in a field, the sun warm on his face. He and his brothers were binding sheaves of grain. Suddenly, his sheaf rose and stood upright, a solitary figure of strength. Then, one by one, the sheaves of his brothers gathered around and bowed down to his. He saw himself standing tall, a focal point of honor, while others bowed in deference. The symbolism was startling, a premonition of leadership and authority that must have felt both exhilarating and deeply unsettling. Then came another, as if to confirm the first. The canvas of the sky became a stage. The sun, the moon, and 11 stars, celestial bodies of immense power and significance, were bowing down to him. The images were vivid, the message seemingly clear in its implication of authority, yet profoundly mysterious in its scope. When he awoke, the feeling of destiny was inescapable, a weight of glory he could not yet comprehend. It clung to him like the morning dew, a truth he now carried in his heart. Dreams from God are powerful declarations of what is to come. They are anchors for the soul in the storms that lie ahead. But they don't always come with instructions or a step-by-step guide. They are a destination, not a roadmap. They are a promise, not a plan. They reveal the end from the beginning, but conceal the journey required to get there. This is the nature of faith, to hold on to the what, even when you don't understand the how or the when. This is a profound truth of walking with God. Sometimes He shows you the future before He prepares you for it. He reveals the palace that awaits you while you are still standing in the field. He plants the seed of a promise in your heart long before the soil of your life is ready to sustain it, long before the ground has been tilled by trial and watered by tears. The space between the promise and the fulfillment, that is the crucible. It is where character is forged, where patience is learned, and where faith is tested and proven genuine. It is the sacred, often silent journey of becoming the person who can carry the weight of the blessing without breaking. Joseph had the promise, a glorious vision of his future, but the preparation, a path that would lead him through betrayal, slavery, and imprisonment, was just beginning. When Joseph shared the dream God had given him, but instead of celebration, he was met with bitter jealousy. Not everyone will clap when God reveals His divine plans for your life. Some people don't truly hate you, they hate the promise you carry. Not everyone understands your calling. The deepest wounds are rarely inflicted by our enemies. An enemy's strike is expected. We build walls against the world for that very reason. But betrayal from within your own walls, from your own blood, that is a wound of a different kind. Joseph wasn't attacked by strangers in a dark alley, by nameless faces in a crowd. The assault came from a place he thought was safe, from the very people who should have been his protectors. It came from home. He was betrayed by his own brothers, the ones who shared his childhood, who sat at the same table, who were bound to him by blood. Think of the shared laughter, the whispered secrets under the same roof. All of that history twisted into a weapon. The ones who knew him best used that knowledge not to build him up, but to tear him down. Their shared history became a weapon, and their familiarity a source of unimaginable pain. Envy had been festering for years, a quiet poison that finally overflowed. They saw the coat of many colors, a gift of a father's love, and saw only a symbol of their own resentment. It wasn't just a garment, it was a constant, vibrant reminder of what they felt they lacked. So they stripped him of it, tearing away not just the fabric, but the visible sign of his identity and favor. In that moment, they weren't just removing a coat, they were attempting to erase who he was. They mocked him. The dreamer was now the subject of their cruelest jokes. Every word was a stone, every laugh a blow to his spirit. His hopes, which once soared to the heavens, were now trampled into the dust by their scornful laughter. The very dreams they resented became the fuel for their ridicule. And then they threw him into a pit. A sudden, violent shove into darkness. There was no warning, no chance to plead his case, no explanation for their hatred. One moment he was walking toward his family. The next, he was falling into the earth, the sky shrinking to a pinprick of light above him. The fall was terrifying, but the landing, in the cold, hard silence, was worse. Just silence. The echoing laughter faded, replaced by the suffocating quiet of the pit. The warmth of the sun was gone. The faces of his brothers vanished. He was left with nothing but the damp smell of earth and the frantic beating of his own heart. In that profound isolation, surrounded by cold earth and crushing darkness, the betrayal was complete. He was utterly and completely alone, or so it seemed. The pit was dark, a profound, suffocating darkness that swallowed all light, all sound, all hope. It was a place where the sun was just a distant memory, a forgotten warmth from a world that seemed to have moved on without you. Every shadow felt like a judgment, every echo a ghost of a happier time. It was cold, a deep, biting chill that seeped into the bones, a cold that had nothing to do with the weather and everything to do with the ice of betrayal. It's the cold of being left behind, the frost that forms on a heart that has been pushed into the shadows by the very hands it once held. And it was lonely. The silence was a deafening roar, amplifying the echoes of laughter and love that now seemed a lifetime away. In this crushing isolation, your own thoughts become your accusers, replaying every failure, every wound. A single question hangs in the air, a desperate cry from the depths of your soul. Have you forgotten me? But in the deepest part of the stillness, when all other voices have faded, when you have exhausted every argument and every plea, a new kind of listening begins. It's a listening born not of effort, but of surrender. Hear this clearly. God was not absent. His presence wasn't in a thunderous rescue or a sudden deliverance. It was in the single beam of light that pierced the gloom, a quiet declaration that darkness would not have the final say. He was in the quiet strength that kept a heart from shattering, a gentle whisper that said, "I am here. I have been here all along." His presence isn't a promise of a life without pits, but a promise to be with you in them. This pit was not a punishment. It wasn't a final judgment or a forgotten corner of his creation. It can feel like a prison, a place of consequence for a crime you didn't commit. But the purpose of this place was never to condemn. It was to cultivate. Like a seed that must be buried in the dark earth before it can grow, you were planted here for a reason. It was positioning, a divine setup, a necessary pause in the journey to recalibrate your spirit and prepare you for the path ahead. It was the stripping away of everything you thought you needed, your reputation, your connections, your own strength, so you could discover the only one you truly do. It's where your compass learns to find its true north in Him alone, what felt like the sharp, stinging pain of rejection from those you loved most. The closed doors, the turned backs, the deafening silence where there once was family was actually a sacred redirection. A course correction from a loving hand, turning you away from a path of familiar comfort and onto a road that leads to your ultimate purpose. He was protecting you from a destination that was less than what he has planned for you. This detour is the main road. This is the place where true prayer is born. Not from a place of plenty, reciting words you think you should say, but from a place of profound need, where the heart cries out what it truly feels. It's where religion ends and relationship begins. Prayer. Slow. Lord, don't let this pit break me. Don't let the bitterness take root and poison my soul. Don't let the darkness extinguish the flicker of faith you placed inside me. Let this pain have a purpose. Instead, shape me. Use the pressure. Use the solitude. Use the darkness. Let the walls of this prison become the hands of the potter. Mold me into the person you destined me to be. Not in spite of this pit, but because of it. Hold. Joseph helped others, but they forgot him. Days passed, months passed, silence again, soft breath. But God never forgot. Delay is not denial, it is development. Wait in the quiet, grow in the waiting. Trust the one who counts the seconds and writes the seasons. When it feels like time has stalled, purpose is still moving. When doors don't open, roots go deeper. When no one calls your name, heaven still knows it. Hold steady, hope steady, peace, even here. God's timing is always intentional. Joseph helped others, but they forgot him. Days passed, months passed, silence again. But God never forgot. Delay is not denial, it is development. In one moment, everything changed. Joseph moved from prison to palace. Years of preparation met divine timing. What looked wasted was necessary. Joseph faced the same brothers who threw him into the pit. He chose forgiveness. What you meant for evil, God meant for good. Forgiveness completed the journey. Final prayer. Lord, help me forgive so I can fully rise. Amen. If this story stirred your heart, like, share, and subscribe.